everybody. Welcome to the Encore Offstage podcast, a conversational podcast where we talk about all things theatre with me, Adam Guest.
Me, Ben Bradley.
And me, Lucy GAZZARD.
How are we doing, guys? We okay?
Yeah, it's great.
Great, thank you.
Good. Well, we're going to move swiftly on today because, Lucy, you've got an interview for us today. Who are you going to speak to today?
I'm going to be speaking to Dave Culling today. He is wonderful. You're going to enjoy it.
Excellent. And I have a quiz for you to make revenge on the both of you for the past 2 weeks that you've done for me. And Ben, you've got a topic for us.
I have. I think should we start with my topic? Should we dive in?
Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like it's planned.
It's almost like we write this down beforehand. Okay. So this week I'd like to talk about the power of reviews. So in a digital age, what power do we think as amateur actors that professional reviews can hold now? In that vein, do you consider reviews before you can go and see any live theatre? Are reviews something that you take into account, or do you just go, oh look, Grease is on, and let's go and see that? And do you think, this is more for Adam, can reviews make or break an amateur production? So if you want to break that down.
Let's break that down. So let's start off with professional reviews.
Yeah, and what power do we think professional reviewers can hold now?
I think it depends on the show.
Okay.
So like you say, if it's a really popular show, okay, I think you're going to get people that enjoy it no matter what.
Yeah.
So they'll go because of the name of the show.
Yeah.
Whatever a critic thinks, whether they think that the people in that cast have done a good job or not, don't think that's going to affect people at all. Because most of the marketing's been done by the name. Brand new shows that have never been done before, I think a professional review can make or break a show.
Really? Still?
Yeah. Because a lot of people will not have heard of something, but they'll see a review for it, and they'll go, oh well, I didn't know about that, but reading a review, if it's not very good, well, maybe I shouldn't go and see it. But
I wonder with a professional new production in the theatre community that is to some extent so tight, would just word of mouth not be even more powerful than reviews? Would if you go, oh, I've just seen this new production and the reviews say it's awful, but I really enjoyed it.
I think it depends on the person. So if you're a avid theatre goer yourself, word of mouth would definitely be the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
However, if you're just sort of, Joe off the street, you just want to go and see a show one night, you're going to heavily rely on reviews and reading material before you go to that show, because you might not know people who can say, oh, I've seen that, it was brilliant, or oh, I saw that and it was a bit iffy. They're going to be the ones that are relying on that review for it.
Yeah.
But certainly, I've certainly gone to see new shows because I know people are in them. So regardless of what the review was, because I'm supporting people in theatre, I'd still go to it anyway. But yeah, certainly if you're just the general public who aren't maybe into your theatre, you're going to rely really heavily on those professional reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing, is I suppose, does a positive review help in a professional show, whether it's new or not? This is it. Does somebody go, oh yeah, I really value that reviewer's opinion. I kind of see it as like an advertising thing. So if you've had like a great review from like a professional reviewer, then you can, it's great because you can put it on your website and use it as part of your marketing. Yeah. But aside from that, I don't really see why. And in fact, sometimes, you might have the morbid curiosity of going to see a show because it's so bad. You might think this might be really entertaining. I'll go and see this bad show. So it can work both ways, I think, really. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You see, when it comes to amateur theatre, I've never really seen a negative review. I think 99% of the time I've seen positive reviews for amateur theatre, because I think a lot of reviewers aren't willing to criticise honestly about something that people do for a hobby. Whereas sometimes what you want is honest feedback. I know that I've done shows that I want to go, I don't want a glowing review. I don't want a glowing review. I want to know what I can do different.
Yeah.
I want to know if I want to know what I can improve on. I want to know if it came across well, not because somebody knows me and is afraid of upsetting hurting my feelings. If I know them well enough, they won't hurt my feelings because I value their opinion enough to tell me what they actually think.
I mean, obviously, by all means, don't leave something really cruel, but there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism at the end of the day if it's going to benefit what you do going forwards. Because, yeah, like the most I've seen for a bad review for an Amdram is it's just very sort of, oh, it was good, it was okay. Like they don't really comment on anything. And it's kind of like, you could kind of garner that yourself. You want to know where you can improve.
Yeah, like the bad stuff being spun into good things.
And also, in recent memory, I won't be specific, but there was a reviewer who reviewed an amateur show, and they didn't give it a very, very glowing review, right? It wasn't. They didn't say it was bad, but they said some things could have been different, and they give their honest opinion. And that reviewer got a tirade of abuse from a lot of people within the cast and the company for that review, even though the leading man said, "I agree with with what you've said." You know, publicly on social media said, "I agree with what you've written. Thank you for the feedback," and they got masses of abuse. So, and I think that was wrong.
Yeah.
And you know, and stuff like that is what a lot of people who go to review amateur theatre are trying to avoid. And so you've got two sides. You've got two sides of a very extreme coin. You've got the professional theatre, where if you get a negative review, pretty much it's going to stop it dead in the water. Whereas you've got amateur theatre, where you're likely to get a positive review, and you see so many of them that you stop reading them after a while.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I agree. I think it's when amateur season's in full flow. Obviously, at the minute we can't really relate to that, but when it is, there's so many reviews, and they're always the same, sometimes the same format, and often the same positive comments over and over again. And you're actually, I'd like to see, as you say, some criticism as an improvement, constructive criticism.
Yeah. If I were to give a review of somebody's performance or somebody's show, I would not expect them to take my opinion as an expert.
No.
I would just say, from my opinion, this is what I thought of this. I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying that I would have done this, or I would like to have seen that. All right. And there is no perfect version of any show, any production, any film, anything like that. It is somebody's interpretation of it, and it's someone's performance of it. So if somebody isn't secure enough to take feedback, right, alternatively, you go to the professional side, and a lot of critics, 9 times out of 10, will give are more likely to give negative feedback. You know.
Yeah.
I think theatre is art at the end of the day. It's so subjective. One person might think something and you'll think something entirely different. It's not like you've bought an item and you're using it on that performance, because that is something that should be doing a job. Theatre is creative, interpretation of something. And I feel like people should, by all means take sort of constructive. I'm not saying sort of like horrible feedback, because you shouldn't be doing that. You should be sort of like constructive with your criticism. But I think people should take it as a way in improving, but at the same time shouldn't be offended by it, because that might not be a shared opinion of everybody at the end of the day.
Exactly.
No, I completely agree. I think as well, with due to the nature of it, of the live theatre in particular, how you can have an off day as an actor, as a director, as a musician. You can just have an off day, and that review on that one off day. If you have a bad press night, and the press night's normally your first proper performance, aren't they? You're gonna have a ropey night. You're always gonna have a ropey night. Tech issues, all kinds of things, and there are some reviewers in professional theatre who don't seem to see that feel. And you take Panto, for example, you get Panto reviews in. The best time to review a Panto is your final week, because you've had 2 months to get to grips with it, to know the material, to improvise for anything. You get on with it, and that's the same with any show. You get comfortable in it, and reviewing on the second or third night, or the first night, the worst case scenario when press night is awful. You have that worrying thing where they are seeing something that is basically a rehearsal.
But it's a marketing tool. That's
yeah,
why
absolutely.
They do it.
Yeah.
If it's a more 9 times out of 10, a Panto you don't need a review of, because you're probably going to go and see it anyway.
Yeah.
A new show, you're less likely to see, so they need to get the review out.
Yeah.
But then again, they're taking a chance because they don't know if it's going to be a good review or a bad review.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
and you want those stars to lie on the top of your title, don't you? That's the problem. So do you think in that people are driven, if that's the thought process, do you think people are still driven by seeing 5 stars above a title?
In professionals?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
professional. It is a very big marketing thing. The more stars you've got, the more you'll sell it.
So as individuals now, does that actually sway your decision on whether you go and see it?
I think it will for me.
Okay.
But then again, it depends on. Sometimes that more likely that something can happen is if they've got a big name in it.
Yeah.
You know, which is another draw. But of something like a musical, which is brand new, and people go, "Look, you need to go and see this."
Yeah.
Again, word of mouth, reviews, and just generally making your own opinion of it.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. Like, I don't tend to. I'll sort of like read reviews out of interest, but it's more sort of word of mouth, and if it would generally appeal to me, because it could have great word of mouth, but if it was a show that I felt didn't appeal to me, I'd probably like, it's not my thing. But sort of in terms of reviews, it's not really something that really factors for me as an individual, but I imagine for somebody actually selling the show, reviews are really good, but mainly from a marketing point of view at that point. Because if they're not going to, or if they are giving actual constructive criticism, then something for you to improve on. But as a consumer, word of mouth, and if it's generally appealing to me as an individual, is more what I'd go on than reading a review.
Yeah, I think the name is just a bigger thing for me. I think I've got a list of bucket list shows that I want to see at some point. If that comes around, if that's come around, and it's not been done very often. So London this year, they're opening Anything Goes, hopefully in March. Or May, I think it is. I've booked that because it's a show I've always wanted to see. It's really rare, and it's got star power for someone that I know.
You see, I've done Anything Goes, and it's not necessarily one of my favourite shows.
No,
but I'd go and see the star power that's in the show to see how they do it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Again, it's like Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg and Jennifer Saunders. I'd go and see that.
Yeah.
I love Sister Act because the music's fantastic. But I'll go, I wonder how Whoopi Goldberg will perform the role that she made iconic on the stage and the singing.
Yeah.
You know, and
Absolutely.
Sometimes people go to see shows for idle curiosity. They're doing so and so. I wonder how they're going to do that one.
Yeah. That's just partly the reason with me Anything Goes is I don't know it that well, but I've always known it's one of the corners. And if it's going to be around, it's at the is that beautiful? I can't remember what it's called. I think it's the Barbican. It's going to be at, and it's a beautiful theatre, really perfect for the show as well. So it's going to be an interesting experience. But that's interesting because there's no reviews for that yet. It's not started rehearsals, but I've booked it. So. I think that's
to it now.
Yeah, well, but I think that says a lot, especially I think in such a digital social media age, our professional review is going to be around for much longer. When actually your YouTube commenters, your Facebook posts make up quite a big proportion of that. For sort of my generation, that's definitely what I've grown up with, was having things online a lot more.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, again, for a publicity point of view, reviews are good for shows. But I would never say that I've read a review for any show that I've seen. live.
Yeah.
Even though I might have seen reviews for shows that, that's on, but I never looked for a review before I went to go and see a show.
No.
Because
you do it afterwards?
No.
No, because I might go and see it and go, I thought this. I'll check to see if anyone's agreed with me online, or if the Guardian have given a similar point. They said I thought the same thing was lacking. I go and look at that afterwards.
I've been to see some amateur shows, and I've seen the review afterwards, and I've gone, were we watching the same show?
Okay. Yeah.
But again, that's again the some of the downside, the paradox of positive amateur reviews.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. As a review, if you like.
Yeah. There we go. It's your review of the topic, and I think that's a brilliant place to leave off.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Would recommend. I think we want some podcast reviews. On that note, if you're enjoying the podcast, this is a great link. And you'd like to give us a review, you can do it on Spotify, iTunes. Oh, not iTunes. That's really old. Apple Podcasts, isn't it now? It's been rebranded. Yeah. I should know this. I upload it. And Google Podcasts. You can give us a 5-star rating, or you can give us like a like and a dislike thing. Do that, please. We'd love to hear what you think of us.
We'd love because other people, you give us a 5-star review, more people will find the podcast.
Absolutely.
And so it would be great for you.
So for us, reviews work. Brilliant. Right, I'll hand it back to you, Adam.
Thank you. Ben's handing it back to me. I'm going to do a quiz.
Oh, good.
Yay!
Can I not hand it back to you? Can I take it back now?
No, get your buzzers or your squeakers or your noisemakers. Excellent. Right, okay. So we all know things quite well in terms of theatre, but like we've just mentioned, you go and see the name of a show, right? Because of the name of it or people that's in it. But do you know the characters that make the show?
Oh, God.
So what I've got here is I've got a quiz. Can you guess the production from the name of its characters? Okay. Multiple choice. Okay. Are we ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So what I'm not looking at the screen. So I'm just going on. I'm going not for the questions, obviously, but for you guys. So I'm going on
sound. Okay.
First. Okay. So there's quite a few questions. So here we go. So we'll go as quick as we can. The first one. Characters are Ophelia, Claudius, and Horatio. Now you can pick Macbeth, Othello, Hamlet, or Romeo and Juliet. I heard a ding first. That's Lucy.
Hamlet.
It is indeed Hamlet. Well done. Very good. You guys keep track of your scores because I'm looking at this screen. Well done.
Yeah,
okay. Willie, Biff, and Happy. The choices are Angels in America, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Death of a Salesman, or Waiting for Godot. I heard the ding again.
Is it A?
It is not A. It is not Angels in America. Ben, your chance to steal.
Waiting for Godot. Godot. Thank you.
No, it is not. Anybody want to have a guess? Willie, Biff, and Happy.
I'm going to guess B, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
No, it is Death of a Salesman.
I should know that.
Willie Loman.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well done. We did.
Okay.
This is a really good start. Can you tell?
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good. So this one is going to be fairly straightforward. So this is whoever can do it first. Okay, because I think it'll be fairly easy when you get it. Gavroche, Thénardier. That was Ben.
Les Mis.
It is Les Mis. Well done. Very good. Okay, next one. Mimi, Angel, and Joanne. So your choices are
there was a ding there.
Rent, Gypsy, Company, and West Side Story.
There's a very faint ding going on. You can't hear it, I don't think.
I can't hear it. I didn't hear the ding.
There was a very faint ding.
Rent.
It is indeed Rent. Yes, it is Rent. Mimi, Angel, and Joanne.
Knew as soon as you said Mimi who it was going to be.
Yeah, she was digging the whole question. You couldn't hear. It's
I
very
could hear
faint.
That's because I hadn't finished the question, guys. Come on. Wait until we're finished.
Okay,
Give
wait till
yourself a
finished.
chance.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Cheat, Lucy.
Lucy, if you do it again, I should take a point off you.
Yeah, I've got a point to spare.
Awkward. Right. Okay.
Rude.
Blanche, Stanley, and Stella. Ben, what did I say about waiting for the end of the question?
Oh, no, but I know what it is.
Oh, go on. I've done it twice already.
Go on, let it go on.
It's Streetcar Named Desire.
It is indeed Streetcar Named Desire. Very good. Excellent. Okay. Okay, ready? Tam, Kim, and Chris. Is that from Mame? A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, The King and I, or Miss Saigon? I heard just the ding just before.
Ooh, I'm going to guess Miss Saigon.
Well done, it is Miss Saigon. Very good. Kim and Chris are the main protagonists, and Tam is the little boy.
It was, I couldn't remember the first two, but I remembered Tam. That was what got it for me, Tam.
That's all right. Okay, ready? Frenchie, Betty, and Danny. Did I hear a squeak then?
I think Ben was trying.
I was trying to squeak. It wouldn't squeak.
Wouldn't squeak. I think, Ben?
Grease.
It is Greece, indeed. Yes, very good. It's Greece. Okay. Not many left now. He lies.
What you want, Lucy?
We're neck and neck with 3.
Oh. Okay.
Right. This one is who dings first or who squeaks first.
Okay.
Okay. Curly.
Shit. That's a ding.
Ben?
Is it Oklahoma by any chance?
It is Oklahoma, yeah. Curly, Laurie, and Judd.
Not like we all did that.
Not like we all did it. Or didn't
No,
do it.
all didn't do
You
it.
were quick on that, Ben. Well
I was
done.
quick on that one. Okay, this one. So wait for the options.
Okay.
Hannigan, Warbucks, and Pepper.
We said wait, Ben.
Oh, I know.
Then wait for the options.
I know.
Do it again. I should take a point off you. I'm in control for this one.
Wow, there's like a teacher in the room. It's really scary.
I know, right? So the options are The Secret Garden, The Light in the Piazza, The Drowsy Chaperone, or Annie. I heard squeak first.
Annie.
It is Annie. Well done. Okay. Ready?
Yep. Is this a wait for the answer or a ding in one?
Wait for an answer.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, wait for an answer. Tevye, Morcha, and Fiedka. Is that Brigadoon, The Sound of Music, Fiddler on a Roof, or Finian's Rainbow? I heard Lucy first.
Fiddler on the Roof.
It is Fiddler on a Roof. Well done. Very good.
I do not know Fiddler on the Roof. That's bad.
I recognised the names. As soon as you said the show, I was like, yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay. This is a wait for the answers one first. Okay. Wendler, Moritz, and Melchior. Is that You're in Town, Twelfth Night, The Taming of the Shrew, or Spring Awakening? I heard Lucy first.
Is it Taming of the Shrew?
It is not Taming of the Shrew.
I think I know what it is, but I picked the wrong one and regretting.
Yeah, I think it's the other Shakespeare one. So was that 12th Night you said?
You say 12th Night?
Is that what you said?
I did say 12th
Yeah,
Night.
okay. Yes, I'm going to say 12th Night then.
It's not 12th Night.
Ooh!
Oh.
Oh.
The answer is Spring Awakening.
Oh, I was going to
Is
say
it?
Odyssey.
It is Spring Awakening.
Goodness,
Ah.
okay.
It's based on the German play, which is of the same name.
Oh, yes.
All the
Cool.
characters are German. But Melchior was a difficult one. This one is dinging or squeaking as quick as you can. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Link, seaweed, and Ben.
Hairspray.
Yes, it is hairspray. Well done.
Nice, well done.
Very good. And this is a wait for the answers one. Okay? And this is the last one.
Wait,
The last one.
what are the scores, Lucy?
Well, you're winning, Ben, so, you know, it's 4-6.
You're 4-6. I've got 5 on mine. If counted for me. Are you giving me an extra point there?
Yeah, I've got 4-6 on mine.
I'll take it.
Take that extra point.
I'll check in editing.
So this is for you to save face, Lucy. Ben, you don't need the point, so this is just for you to show off.
Would I ever want to do that?
Anyway, wait for the answers first. Okay? Cornelius, Horace, and Irene are the answers. She Loves Me, Hello Dolly, Carousel, or My Fair Lady? Lucy.
I'm going to guess Hello Dolly.
You're saying Hello Dolly. It's correct.
Yay!
Well done. Very
Well
good.
done.
Well done.
I did
Hello,
not know
Dolly.
that.
So,
I like to sing that to my dog.
hello, Dolly.
Yeah.
Hello, Dolly. Anyway, so there we are. That is the quiz for this week. So well done, guys. Very, very good.
Woo!
Well done. See? I can come up with a good quiz despite what Ben says.
I
really
did not say
enjoyed
that.
one. Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome. No worries.
I did not say you cannot make a good quiz, Adam.
It's all right. Don't lie to the people. Don't lie to the people, Ben. It's fine.
Good. Jeez. Right.
Now it is time to listen to Lucy's interview with Dave Culling. Take it away, Lucy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast tonight. We have the wonderful, the talented Dave Culling. Welcome onto the podcast, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Lucy. Not too bad. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Now, I've been researching you for this interview, and my God, it'd be easier just to say, what haven't you done, rather than what have you done? So I want to get straight in with the questions, if that's all right with you. So my first question, before we sort of get into sort of your career and what you've done in that time, is sort of, as a composer, where do you draw inspiration from? Is there a particular person? Is there something that you normally do? And has this changed as your taste and style has gone on over the years?
Gosh, that's a good question to start with, Lucy. So is there a muse? Sometimes there's a muse, you know, that a person that draws inspiration out of me. Normally, it just sort of happens. That sounds stupid. It probably didn't used to happen, maybe. And then later, as you do more and more of it, you think, I want to write a piece in this style, or I want to use this instrumentation, or so that's stuff for myself, obviously, my own compositions and things that I'm doing for fun. The other stuff, my inspiration is someone's asked me to do it, and I've been given a brief, and I know I've got this long to make something for this person, music for their show or film or whatever. So yeah, there's a bit of everything, really. Yeah.
I like that. That's good. That's good, though. It's good to have a lot of areas to draw inspiration from.
Yeah, sometimes this tune just comes into my head as I'm wandering around. My phone is full of sort of a mixture of terrible and quite good ideas, which is a good thing to have, I think. It's handy that you've got a kind of dictaphone on hand these days, all the way through your day. You can just pick up your phone and sing something. If a little tune pops in there, you can sing it in, and maybe it's garbage and maybe it's good. So, yeah.
And have you found that your personal style has changed at all over the years?
Well, I was always, because of my theatre company, Big Adventures, that I run, I always wrote stupid songs, because that's what we needed to write, was comedy, daft, you know, light songs for theatre shows about King Richard I and his brother John or something, or whatever, those kind of things, you know. Oh, Dave, we need a song here that covers the theory of evolution. Can you write something? You know, and off I go and write some nonsense. That's hopefully amusing and is tunable. But then obviously it depends on the commission as well. Depends what you get asked to write by certain people. I think I've got more interested in more complex orchestrations and arrangements in later years. Quite like now that I've got a DAW, a digital audio workstation logic that I've actually got some decent samples in and makes it sound not garbage. Quite interested in making stuff on there for myself. So I'm orchestrating a piece at the minute for a full orchestra for fun.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a bit earlier about your company, Big Adventure Theatre. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, Big Adventures is the company that my friend Caroline Reader/Tipper started back at university. So in our last year of university, there were three of us originally. We decided to start a theatre company because we didn't want to leave our drama school, Bretton Hall, and go out into the world and get a proper job, perhaps. We did end up doing a job, but we ended up running this theatre company. Now, the first thing we ever wrote was a murder mystery event. I'm trying to remember why the heck we thought that was a good idea, but we did. And then we got a gig. We all went back to our hometowns. So Caroline's from Derby originally. I went back to wherever the heck I was at the time. And we tried to sell this script to someone, see if they wanted a murder mystery event. And Richard Felix, probably heard of, who used to run the Derby Heritage Centre, said, yeah, go on, let's do a gig. So we owe him a lot. And we did our very first show in 1997. And then ever since then, we've been in Derby, based in Derby, and writing shows and putting on fun. So we do, it's kind of a few strands to our business. One is the corporate stuff, which is where we do murder mysteries and things for clients, private clients or businesses. And then the other strand is we put on a show that we want to put on, which is sometimes written by Caroline, sometimes written by me, and sometimes not written by either of us. It's just something we want to do. So it's quite eclectic and varied. Yeah.
That sounds amazing, though. With murder mystery, though, for some reason, obviously because I know you better for sort of music, I was just imagining people sort of breaking into song.
No, there's none of that. Although I did 2 years. I'm just looking at the date on the poster, but 2 years ago we did put on the interactive murder mystery musical that I wrote called Who Done It.
Oh wow! You'll have to send me a link to that. That sounds amazing.
Five members of the audience had to get up on stage and interact with the show basically and solve the crime. It was good. We're thinking of reviving if the theatres ever return.
I mean, so, I for one would love that idea, Dave. If you did revive that, I'd be well up for that.
I can well imagine you, Lucy, coming up and it was kind of like a mixture between Cluedo and the Generation Game. It was a bit like that.
That sounds so fun.
It was fun. Yeah, it was good fun. It's one of the funnest things we've done, I think. I think everyone really enjoyed it that was in it and on it and working on it. And we had a band, and yeah, I wrote all the music and the script for it and the lyrics. So it was jolly. I like writing murder mysteries. So yeah, it was kind of an amalgamation of my musical stuff and Big Adventures murder mystery heritage, if you like. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. So obviously, sort of in the space of what we've been talking already, you've done quite a vast variety of things, but how did you first get into sort of being an MD and sort of getting into all of this? Where did it all start?
Well, I mean, music has always been part of my life. I always thought I was going to be a pop star. That didn't work. But you know, I had a band at school, had a band at college, had a band at university, and then was band after university. No. So my band we went our separate ways, and I kind of ended up on my own, although music was always part of what Big Adventures did, because that's what I brought to the table, as well as, you know, acting a bit and script writing a bit. So we always had silly songs in our shows and so on and so forth. And then, you know, just sort of music kind of took over. It's a silly tale, really, because I didn't get there by an orthodox route, I don't think. I just kept doing music and trying to get work doing music. And then that wasn't necessarily working, so I did some teaching work. And while I was doing some teaching work, I just got a decent website up and running. showing off all the things I could do, you know, the orchestration, scoring, and arranging, and if you want someone to do your show, blah, 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 blah. By which time I'd sort of accrued enough credits, if you like, doing other things, you know, running a choir, doing this and that, had quite a lot of skills dealing with music, musicians and people, singers. So I put up this website and then just sent out my CV and, you know, card to as many theatres as I possibly could. And it landed on the desk at the Lichfield Garrick the day that the MD that was there decided to quit or leave. He went to another theatre, he didn't quit. He just moved to another theatre. And so I got summoned in for an interview, got the job doing the panto for Lichfield Garrick, and was able to leave all my other work other than Big Adventures to just do it professionally from then on, and really looked back since then. So I don't know how other people get into it, but that's how I got into it.
I mean, you said that sort of the route you took was quite an unorthodox route. What would be sort of the normal route for somebody wanting to pursue this be?
Well, probably to do it younger than I did. That would be a start. Although, you know, and he's a fairly older, but I guess probably doing what I did, but just doing it a lot earlier. I think I just didn't do it properly, or just wasn't quite in the right place to do it in that way. Needed, you know, I had a daughter and life and money, bills to pay and all that kind of stuff. So I still got a daughter and a life, but you know, it's a bit different now. So I was just able to sort of free myself up a bit. I think most people, I guess they probably start in Amdram, you know, amateur dramatics, and MDing for them, or being an assistant MD, or being a musician in the pit, and then just getting the bug and then carrying on and getting better and better at doing that. So I think probably that's the way through. Is most people start in Amdram, as most people do, you know, and then sending your CV out, trying to get more work. You know, I just happen to be more proactive about it later on in life.
That's a good way to go, though. I think be proactive with things, because you're not going to get anywhere just sitting there and waiting for it, are you?
No, sadly not. No, as I learned too late. No, not too late, but you know, later on than I could have been doing it. But you know, I mean, I was running a theatre company and doing lots of other fun stuff, so I wasn't particularly bothered about it. I was still doing music and making music and doing things and writing songs for us. Yeah, I just thought I'd have a go at writing songs for other people. Part of it's confidence, isn't it? You know, you think you're okay and you think you're good enough, and then you sort of go to a show and think, Christ, well, I don't think I could do that. And then it's just, your skills pick up and your confidence picks up with the skills, doesn't it?
I mean, to be honest, I cannot play an instrument to save my life. So I think it's fantastic when people can, and then let alone apply such a skill to sort of their work. I think that's really phenomenal to be able to do that.
Thank you. Well, I started playing the piano when I was very little. I just was a terrible student, unfortunately. I got to teenagerdom and just wasn't interested in playing Mozart anymore. You know, the loss was mine, not Mozart's. And then just got into playing guitar really, and bands and things like that, and drumming, and just doing as many musical things as I could feasibly do. And then latterly realised Mozart was all right, you know. But,
what sort of style was your band? Was it sort of like rock, glam?
We were misunderstood indie rock. Yeah, you know, I mean, the Smiths were a big influence on me as a teenager, I have to say, as they probably are on a lot of teenagers. And so it was that kind of thing. We were all, you know, desperately in need of love, and it was always unrequited, that kind of stuff. But I never sang. I always let someone else sing until I got to uni, and then thought, yeah, I should just do this myself, because I end up listening to other singers and going, oh Christ, yeah. But,
now, speaking of rock though, Dave, I thought this was pretty cool, because I did not know this fact. Nativity Rocks, you were the musical director of that.
Did you not know that fact?
I did not know this fact until I was sort of like researching, and I thought that was really cool. I mean, how did you even get involved in this?
So that is, I mean, that I think shows the, that is the result of doing a good job on other things. So I worked at Lichfield Garrick for however many years, 5 years, doing their panto. And during that time, I thought, well, I'll try and get somewhere else, because I've got some work that someone can come and see. You know, I'm actually doing something. So invited someone from Birmingham Rep to come and see the panto, and all right, it's panto, but it was good, and the music was good, and the songs were good, and you know, the gags were good. It wasn't a low grade sort of panto, so they came and saw it, and then offered me a job doing a workshop at Birmingham Rep just for a week as an MD. So I went and did that. I didn't particularly like the piece, but it was okay, and I did a good job on it. Even though I not hated it, that's a strong word. Even though I wasn't like massively into the material, I still did my bit, did a professional job. Then I was invited back to do another thing. I worked on Anita and Me with Roxana Silva, who was the artistic director at the time. And again, I think I did a good job on that at the time I was there. And then I got asked to come back again by Birmingham Rep to do the kids' auditions. That's how it started for Nativity, because they were going to do the musical was in-house at Birmingham Rep, which it was in 2019. Obviously it wasn't on last year, and it's going to be on again this year, I think, at Birmingham Rep. So I went to do that, met Debbie, the writer director of the Nativity films, and worked with her, auditioning these kids for a week, and we sort of stayed in touch. And then, you know, I got a phone call, I think, was it 2 weeks before they started filming, something like that. It was late on anyway, to come in and be the musical director for the film, the fourth film in the Nativity series, which was great. And I spent spent a while in a hotel in Coventry, sort of madly scoring and making things in the middle of the night ready for the shooting the next day. It was chaotic, but it was good fun. Yeah.
And how did this differ to sort of doing sort of musical direction work for sort of theatre? Because this sounds really stressful. They've literally told you 2 weeks before, and then you're writing and then getting it in.
Yeah, so what would happen on that? I mean, theatre, generally, I'm in charge of it, I suppose. I'm the composer, and maybe I'm writing some lyrics as well, or I'm doing something for a show. And I know, because we've got months of rehearsal, what it's going to be, and you're kind of organically working it. Whereas this was, because this is how Debbie likes to work, because she thrives on chaos, which is what we all learned working with her. But it's great, and what comes out of it is great, and it kind of has that anarchic feel to it, very chaotic. But yeah, so I'd go home after a day of shooting and working with the cast and, you know, the crew, then go back to my hotel, and then at about sort of 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, ping, there's a sort of email, and it's tomorrow's song, which they've just written. I don't know, because my assumption was that they would have written them ages ago, you know, because it's a blooming film. But again, I don't know if they just written it or they just got around to recording it, but either way, I'd suddenly get a song from Debbie and Nikki, who the songwriters for the Nativity films, and it was basically a guitar and Debbie singing, you know, and there's a tune, all right, okay, and then off I go to the computer in the hotel. I took my massive keyboard with me, you know, into the hotel, so that was sat in the corner of the room, and then I'm sitting, you know, putting it into Sibelius, which is the music notation program, and kind of working on it as late as I can without zonking out, ready to present it to the cast the next day, ready for filming. So
Gosh, very high pressure then. That is dedication.
It was a lot of pressure. Yeah, it was good though. It was good. Yeah, there was a lot of pressure, but it was fun. You know, it was interesting, and got to meet some cool people, and you know, it was just sort of organized chaos. We'll say that. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was great. It was good fun to work on. Yeah.
So tell us about some of your other work then, because you've done so much sort of theatre and panto work. I mean, you've sort of worked with independent companies like Odds, Sarks and Little Wolf, and then you've done sort of work for the West End. So yeah, just tell us about all your work that you've done.
God, there's a lot of it. Yeah, well, as you say, it is a variety of stuff. I mean, most of it, predominantly it's been theatre work. I've worked more probably with Birmingham Rep and the New Vic in Stoke than I have with many other theatres, I think, although I've been hither and yon and worked with various companies, be they local or national companies. Yeah, but generally it's a similar thing, is that either a composer's written a script and they want someone to deliver it, you know, or written songs rather, and they want someone to deliver it as a musical director, just as a musical director. So you go in and you teach songs and you do all the things, you know, you sort out the harmonies, you fix anything that's wrong, and maybe you get the band in and rehearse with them, if they're lucky enough to have a band, or you rehearse with the actors, which is more the way of things these days. They tend to have acting musicians involved in shows, so you've got to have, you know, various strings to your bow, sometimes literally. And then, sorry, what am I rambling on about? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so then, or you're going in as a composer, you know, and you're working very closely with the director. So, you know, New Vic and Rep and various other theatres and, you know, Derby Live and various, you know, lots of places. You go in and you talk to the director or the scriptwriter, and you sit down and you have a meeting, and they say, right, and here there's a song, and this is what it needs to achieve, you know, or here's a piece of music that's going in there in the script, and it needs to get us from point A to point B. Go away and scratch your head for a bit and come up with something, and then try it out on the director, send them a rough demo, that kind of thing, and then they'll say yeah, or they'll say yeah. I don't think I've ever had anyone say no, that's rubbish, which is something, I suppose.
It's what you want at the end of the day, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I don't mind some criticism, because that's always good. It kind of pushes you to be better, but I don't necessarily want that's the worst thing I've ever heard, Dave. Get out of my sight. So that would be depressing.
I can never for 1 minute think anybody would say that to you, Dave.
Thanks, Luce. Checks in the post.
Now, what's been sort of the most memorable experiences that you've had during your career?
Gosh. Well, I mean, obviously the Nativity film is hard to beat, because that was really, it was good fun. I mean, generally, my work with big adventures is the thing that I get most excited about, probably. I love working in theatres and working with other people, but when it's your own show, certainly Who Done It, which I wrote completely and did everything on it, that was very exciting, when, especially because it was so kind of weird as a concept, that it was a musical, but it was a murder mystery, and it was also 5 people coming up totally at random from the audience, who, what the hell were they going to do? You know, what were they going to bring to it? What was going to happen in the show? So it was a bit seat of your pants, basically, for the run of the show. But yeah, that was really fun to see it working. And Caroline, my business partner, and I, we always write our scripts for all the murder mysteries. So we've had a lot of people crying with laughter at things we've just sort of written to amuse ourselves, which is something else, really. It's really nice when I think about how many, in our 23 years or whatever of doing it, we've made quite a lot of people laugh or make their evening, or, you know, something to remember. And that's without wishing to blow my own trumpet, I think that's the most memorable stuff. Or the glitzy, glamoury stuff is lovely, but yeah, that stuff's good too.
And during your time as well, moving from the memorable to the more unusual, have you ever had any sort of unusual or downright odd requests from people during your time?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I can tell you a few murder mystery stories, probably. We once did a murder mystery we used to do murder mysteries on steam trains down in Leicester. And there was all sort of this cloak and dagger about this one gig. They said, oh, can you come and do this murder mystery? But it's for this group. And we were like, what the hell is this? What are we going into? You know, I was slightly concerned it was going to be the BNP or something. We'd have to turn around and say, no, we're going home. And it just turned out to be a sort of load of S&M fetishists on a train.
So a load of people in sort of gags and
sort of in naff PVC kind of leatherette shirts and things. I was just sort of, oh god, this is a bit unusual. Yeah, we did at one point walk into a carriage, and there was this woman go on the floor, you know, on her hands and knees on the floor, and I thought, oh god, this is not for me. It turned out she just dropped a bread roll. So
You just said, I'm looking for Mother Getty. You're like, sure you are, sure you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if is this a family show? I don't know, but that was the oddest sort of thing. Yeah, no, I think sometimes the odd ones are always when directors give you I've been very lucky and worked with a lot of directors who give you a very specific idea of what they want, you know. Or when you sit and play the piano, they go, yeah, something like that. But then you might get the odd one, very odd one, who'll just say, I want it to sound like baby seals cooked in their own fear or something. You know, just sort of some mad statement that you've got to make into music, which just happens sometimes. And you go, this? And they go, no, that doesn't sound like baby seals cooked in their own fear. Yeah, so you do get that occasionally, but mostly I've been quite lucky. Yeah.
Now, you have had some works published with Samuel French Limited as well. Could you give us some details on these and sort of which have been successful?
Well, the most successful thing is my musical of Daniel and the Lions. I'm not a religious man at all, but I just sort of found this biblical story and thought, oh, that would make a nice little show. And I had to write something, again, sort of necessity being the mother of invention. Had to write something for a summer school that we were about to do with some kids. And I wrote it in a week and just sort of thought, you know, vomit it forth and get it down on paper and that'll do. And then when I finished it and we'd done the show, I remember a parent coming up to me and saying, that was so good, that was really good, you should get that published. And I thought, oh, yeah, okay. And so I sent it off to them, and then yeah, just sort of miraculously got this letter back saying, yeah, here's an advance and we'd like to publish this show. And I've seen it performed a couple of times in various places around the country. It went to Sri Lanka at one point because they send me they send me a little breakdown of where's this being performed, you know. So it's been around the world a bit and been performed. So it's really weird. It's really odd. I remember the first time I went to see it when I had nothing to do with it. It's very odd seeing something you've written and you've got absolutely nothing to do with what it looks like, how it's directed, what's going on. You know, you're used to sort of having your claws on it and control over it. But it was lovely. It was in Wombwell near Barnsley.
That's amazing. Oh,
right. That was the first time I saw it. Yeah. We've got the author in tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it was like, oh, bloody hell. This is all a bit much. But yeah, so that was nice and really nice. And yeah, it sort of pushes you on to write more stuff, you know.
So tell us about sort of what your current projects are. You working on anything at the minute?
Well, yes, but I mean, COVID, the dreaded, has obviously kiboshed all of my work last year. So I was working on a couple of shows, theatre shows. I was going to be playing keys and going around with Blood Brothers at some point, the Ken Wright tour, which I was very excited about. And I was working on 3 pantos all at the same time. And I was also hopefully going to be working with Debbie on her next film. And then that all went in the blink of an eye, basically. Sort of, we tried to hold on, and then come July, it was like, it's not going to happen. So everything was cancelled, and I got very lucky and managed to get a teaching job, teaching music tech. So I'm at least teaching music and to sort of A-level students. So it's really good. I landed on my feet there. Coming up this year is going to be all the things that were cancelled last year. So
for you then.
Yeah, so it's going to be a call saying, right, now we need these 3 pantomimes that I was working on. I've got my big list on the wall, you know, of tracks that I've done for it and things that I've made and so on and so forth. So at the minute, it's kind of pet projects, really, I'll be honest, because nothing's happening. We don't know when theatres are going back. We've got absolutely no idea. Yeah, because we don't know what's going on with theatres. We don't know what's going on with film. There's just nothing happening. So I have been working on some scores and just trying to get my SoundCloud uploaded with a load of stuff that I've made, you know, demos of what I can do in terms of composition and so on and so forth.
Which are amazing, by the way, everybody. You need to go and check these out because they are great.
Thank you, darling. That's very kind of you. And then I've been talking to a friend of mine called Kat, who works at the New Vic, and we are both keen to do a show of The Box of Delights by John Masefield. But it's a pet project for both of us because we absolutely love the book and the series from the 80s. So we're mad keen on adapting it. And that's kind of been in the pipeline for a while for me, but I've actually got someone to collaborate on it with, which is nice. And then I've been writing a book. I write novels for sort of young adults, so I'm writing the fourth one in a series of books that I've been writing. So,
for the listeners, what's your series called, Dave?
They're called the Extraordinaire Mysteries, which is a funny name, but it's based on my daughter Lottie. I wrote the first one for her as a kind of Christmas present, and then they've kind of been written ever since. So Esther Morstenaire. So yeah, the first one's called The Deverell Diamonds. Second one, The Queen Anne's Revenge. Third one, Medusa Hollow, and this one's called The Body in the Alley. And I'm hoping to get it finished next month, I think.
Amazing. And if people want to read these, where can they find these novels?
They're on Amazon. They're on iTunes as ebooks, and so if you fancy an ebook read, you can go to Amazon or iTunes or wherever else you get your audiobook content, and you can type in my name and it should come up. And if it doesn't, type in The Deverell Diamonds, Deverell Diamonds, and that's the first book.
He's a man of many talents, is Dave.
Try to be jack of all trades, hopefully master of the occasional one. Yeah.
Now, before we finish off, Dave, me and Lindsay, we were having a little fun chat the other day about what musical instrument best suits our personality. So, not sort of what instrument you're good at, because quite frankly, you can play so many, but if you were a musical instrument, what would best describe your personality?
Christ. That's tricky. I think it would have to be something quite fast, something you could play sort of staccato and at vigor.
Like a piccolo?
But a piccolo is so piercing and irritating. I hope I'm not that.
Which you're definitely not.
Thank you, darling. But maybe, a very fast staccato run on a bassoon. Let's go that, bassoon.
You know what? I said to Lindsay she'd be a bassoon because, quite frankly, they are the best instrument.
Lovely. Bless you. I'm sure she was flattered. Beyond measure. Yeah. Lindsay, you're a bassoon. Yeah.
Oh, well, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on, Dave. It's been really great chatting with you tonight.
Yeah,
it's really fascinating. I've really loved it. It's good seeing you again.
And you, darling. Well, hopefully we'll see each other at some point in the flesh.
Yeah, in the flesh would be so much better when this cursed corona is over.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. You've been a wonderful guest tonight, Dave.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much for coming on, Dave. You've been a wonderful guest.
Well, thank you ever so much, everybody. It's been another good episode. I think we're going to wrap it up there.
We are. And Adam.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, I thought I was going to do the... Okay.
Bye-bye.
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 You put water in his dish this time, Ben.
No.
Yeah, can I have clean this?
Sorry, I'm a bit scared because he was just headless as he walked away there. That was slightly terrifying. And that was a weird shape on the screen. What is Adam's house? This is great. Is he locked? Is it locked? No, it's locked. All that remains to say is thank you very much, everyone, for watching and listening. If you'd like to support us, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Encore Offstage Pod. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, we'd love it if you would subscribe and like and comment and all that usual stuff. If you fancy supporting us a bit more, you can always support us over on Patreon. The link to that will be in our description. Again, we love ratings and reviews, so if you really wouldn't mind, do give us a 5-star rating if you did enjoy the show. It takes no time at all. Thank you so much for listening, and from Lucy, myself, and Adam, we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.